Hi, Alyssa. My name is Michael. I'll be your counselor today. I'd like to thank you for coming in. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's a big step to come into counseling, so I'd like to first praise you and thank you for making this motion to come see me. Now, have you ever been involved in a counseling relationship before?
No.
So, when we're in a counseling relationship, there are rules that clients follow and rules counselors follow. So, my guidelines are I'm supposed to be here as your support system. I'm here to listen to you without any issue. You're allowed to answer any question I ask, but the session is about you. So, do not feel pressured to answer anything at any time. You don't have to answer any question, and you can change the subject at any time if you'd like. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah.
Along with this, we also do have a time constraint. So, when we start to get to the end of our session, I'll let you know, and then you can talk about anything. We don't have any other if we have more time. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
As a client, your job is to come to your sessions to obey the time limit and be as open as possible with me. Is that fine with you?
Yeah.
And before we get started with our session, I do have to go over confidentiality. As a counselor, I am a mandated reporter, so I am required to talk about if you talk about issues of suicide, homicide, or dependent elder abuse or child abuse, I am required to report that to the authorities.
All
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Do you understand these rules?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what brought you into counseling today?
So 3 years ago, I met this guy, and I wasn't really looking for like a relationship then, but we kind of hit it off, and he was someone that I like really instantly became interested in, and we spent a lot of time kind of like getting to know each other because my mom wasn't really good with the idea of us dating at first, so we spent like 6 months or so just like getting to know each other before we actually started dating, and he's someone that like was always like there for me and like patient with me because not a lot of people would wait that long to be with somebody. So we in like the like I guess you would call it like the talking stage, kind of. We were like basically dating, but it was kind of still just like talking. I had like a couple red flags with him. We would get in arguments, and he would take it to another level that it didn't need to be at. And then he would get mad at me, and I would get upset. Then he would get mad at me for being upset and blame it on me. But back then I didn't really know any better, so I just kind of like apologized for being mad at him, and we kind of got over it. Even though like he's the reason that it got to the point where it got explosive, and he would like say mean things to me, like he didn't need to bring it that way, and then I would end up apologizing for his faults. But when we started dating, we were just like so happy that we finally could like be together and like go out together in public and hang out at each other's houses and stuff. So everything was really good. We always got along when we were like positive together. But if something happened that upset him or that upset me and I brought it up to him, we would get in arguments, and then his anger would take over, and he would say things that either he didn't mean or he didn't want to say, but he said it like I think mainly to get me more mad. And it would happen like from time to time, and then slowly we would like argue more often, and it got to the point where we just like couldn't handle it anymore. Like we got into one argument that lasted almost like 4 days because he would ignore me, then I would ignore him, and it just became this whole like unhealthy back and forth relationship. And we ended up breaking up after like 2 years last August. And then it was kind of abrupt. Like we were probably at like our peak best and point of our relationship, and then 4 days later we broke up. So it was kind of abrupt, and it was like harder than I thought it would be because I had to get over him when I didn't expect there to be like an ending, like when it happened. So I thought like the best thing to do was just cut him like out of my life completely, especially since like there was a lot of negativity like on his side towards me, like him trying to upset me and make me mad. So I cut him out of my life completely, blocked him on everything. I didn't talk to him, and I took that as my time to like heal. And after like 4 months or so, he tried to fix things with me, and I thought things would be better. But right off the bat, I was kind of getting the same red flags, and I might being naive, wanting to be with him. I was like, oh no, like it'll be better. And we still like bickered and argued the same amount, and he would come at me the same amount and make my feelings feel like invalid, you know. So that lasted like 3 months before we cut it off again, And then right after we cut it off, he started talking to this girl, and that like triggered me, made me upset, because I wasn't really like looking for anybody else. I was still trying to heal after that. And he eventually started dating her, and I figured since he started dating somebody, maybe I should try to date somebody, because like being alone wasn't really helping. So I worked with someone who had been interested in me for a while. So when he asked me to be his girlfriend one day, so I was like, I kind of like him. I might as well, maybe he'll try, like, help me get over like the spot that I was in my life. So I dated him not too long, because I realized that it really wasn't helping. Like, I can't just bury my feelings in another human being. So I called it off with him, and it was around the time where I started talking to the same guy from the past again, because he texted me out of the blue, because we were on like bad terms for a while, like not talking at all. And he texted me to like let me know like he'll always be there for me or whatever, and that triggered my feelings like anybody would. So I ended up breaking up with my current boyfriend, well, back then my current boyfriend, and because I realized like my feelings were still like too strong for him, and like trying to bury myself in somebody else wasn't like helping. So but he was still in a relationship, so me and him were kind of like still emotionally attached, and still like talking about our relationship, and like getting into like relationship type things when he still had a girlfriend. And it got to the point where I thought maybe he would like break up with his girlfriend and we would like be together, but he didn't like want to break up with her, even though we were still kind of like romantically like involved. So I ended up breaking that off again and blocking him on everything again, because I decided like at that point like I should just be done, and I'm not gonna like waste my time on him anymore. And so I broke that off. I blocked him on absolutely everything. And after I did that, he texted me a little bit after that. I think it was like maybe a month or so, maybe a little bit more than that. But he texted me saying that he misses me and stuff, and like it hurts him that like we're not friends. And I told him it was kind of a lie, but I was just trying to finally have like the upper hand, because during our relationship he always had the upper hand, and I was always apologizing even when it wasn't my fault. So I decided to have the upper hand and tell him like I didn't care about him, and like he didn't matter to me, and that was kind of it. And then after that, we absolutely were not friends. We weren't like we did not associate with each other at all. And then I started becoming like romantically involved with someone that he used to be really close with, and then that kind of like broke the bond even more, and he just didn't want to talk to me, and I didn't want to talk to him. And then eventually I think I decided to text him to try to like clean up the bond, because it would bother me that we weren't friends. Like, you date someone for so long, get so invested with them, know everything about them, every corner of their mind, everything. Like, you don't want to think of them as a stranger. So I texted him when he was still in the same relationship that he was before, to let him know that I didn't like that we were at like the spot that we were at. So we kind of resolved our issues, and then it got back to the same way it was before. We would become like romantically involved, and like we would talk about our relationship and talk about our feelings. And I got to the point where I again thought that he was gonna break up with his girlfriend for me, but then he didn't want to again. So I'm kind of stuck in this place where I'm still trying to get over him, and he's kind of still trying to get over me, but he's burying himself in somebody else without telling her his feelings about me. But then he'll tell me his feelings about me, which is kind of unfair to me, because he knows how I feel, and I'm single, so I could be with him. Like, if I could, I would be with him, and he can't. I'll leave her to be with me, so it's kind of leaving me in this like broken state.
So from what I've heard of what you said, that you met a guy about 3 years ago, and you talked for a while, mostly because your mother had some issues with you guys dating, and it was very good through the relationship, but there was marked red flags, as you said, where there'd be multiple fights or arguments about things that didn't really matter, or would just escalate to where you said explosive it would be, and he would come at you for certain issues, and it would put you on the defensive, and it would just led to a very bad situation, which eventually caused a abrupt breakup, if I heard that correctly. And after the breakup, you tried to be okay, and you started talking again for a little bit, but the same red flags came up again. And because these red flags, you believed it would be okay this time and blamed yourself, it seemed, that you felt you were naive. And you ended up started dating somebody else after he did, and the person you started dating was very interested in you, but you weren't feeling him as much, and your ex-boyfriend started coming back into your life again, even though he did have a current girlfriend, and seemed to start messing around with you from what I could understand. And because of this, it sounds like you're feeling very unsure and very confused and very broken as where you should be going in the future.
Right. Yeah.
So, would you like to focus in on one aspect? It was very nice, and like I'm very sorry you had to go through this to begin with. Is there anything you'd like to start with?
I guess just it's frustrating when you feel some way about somebody and you get the same vibes from them that they feel the same way about you, but then there's something stuck in the middle where you can't like feel the way about each other together.
You said something stuck in the middle. Do you think you could elaborate on that?
I mean, specifically this thing stuck in the middle, I guess, is his girlfriend, but it's just, I don't understand how you can have feelings for somebody and just like push them aside, especially when they're so large. I just don't understand like that aspect, and it like puts me in a spot where I'm like confused, or I get angry and I get upset. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're feeling very confused because he's giving you mixed signals even though he's still with this other woman. Is this correct? And these mixed signals you feel are very unfair because he's been telling you how he feels about you even though he's with this other woman, right? And these feelings of being unfair feelings, how do you feel when you're going through these type of situations?
Some days I'll feel fine and it's like, oh, he doesn't matter, I could do better, I'm fine by myself. And it's not that I like depend on him or anything, like I'm a very independent person. It's just like, when you have feelings for someone, you'd rather be with them than be alone. And it's just frustrating. Like I feel like I can overcome it by myself, and sometimes I'll feel fine, but other days I'll just get really upset because if I see like a couple or something that like triggers me from our relationship, that makes me upset. Like recently, since like in this season, 3 years ago, he would help me put up the tree with my family. And putting up the tree with my family yesterday was kind of like an emotional thing because we kind of started doing that and taking like a time lapse of it with him, and then we doing it yesterday without him.
I would like to first of all congratulate you on being so independent, though. It sounds like you really understand who you are as a person and you know you can get through this, and that's very important to have this inner resilience and this ability to fight. I'd like to really congratulate you for that. And when you mentioned that your family was putting this tree up, you would take a time lapse with your ex-boyfriend. How did this feel yesterday?
Kind of felt like empty, and I kind of like rushed through it so we wouldn't have to do it too long.
So you rushed through it because you felt empty. Was your family okay with this, or?
Yeah, they don't think about him like that. Like they don't associate the tree with him like I do now.
Was your family supportive during your relationship with him?
Yeah, my mom really liked him when she got to know him. She really liked him. She did a lot for him. My brother's in college, but when my brother would come home and meet him, he liked him. My dad's not really around, so it didn't really matter.
So you said that your brother and your mom really did like this man. And did they know that you started to see him again?
No, they don't know.
Are you okay with that, or?
Yeah, it's just like I don't want to tell them and then something happened and I tell them differently weeks later, so I just haven't told them.
Okay, so you haven't told them, and then you also mentioned that your dad really isn't in the picture. Is that okay with you? Would you like to discuss that, or?
Yeah, no, that's fine with me. Yeah.
For another time?
Yeah.
So back to your ex-boyfriend. Was your mom supportive of you during your the breakup, or was your brother there for you?
Yeah, I remember the day my mom found out. It was probably 2 or maybe 3 days after we were officially broken up, and I was just really not okay. And I was letting like our dog out, and then I just started crying. And she asked me why I was crying, and then I told her, and then we both started crying, and because she really liked him, so she was upset that we broke up, and she sat there and talked to me for like an hour about it and told me I'd be okay, and just said like really uplifting things to make sure that, I like get through it.
So it sounded like that you were feeling broken and your mom was really there to pick you up. So is this normally a support system?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whenever I'm like feeling at a point where I don't know what to do, I go to her. So.
We're actually running out of time in this session. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss today?
No, that's it.
Well, I think we should set a few goals. How do you feel about writing a letter to your ex-boyfriend and not mailing it or sending it to him, but bringing it in to me next week and we can discuss these feelings? Do you think you could do that?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to thank you for coming in today, Alyssa, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay.
Thank you.